Welcome to the Raising Confident Girls podcast, your guide to raising strong, confident daughters. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and a teacher for over 20 years. In a world where girls often feel overwhelmed, anxious, and confused, this podcast is your go-to space. As caregivers, we navigate challenges together. I founded Girls Positivity Club to provide a place where you belong and get the tools to face today's hurdles. Consider this your regular check-in with a trusted friend, offering insights and practical tips for meaningful conversations. I'm here to help you feel confident on this journey of raising a generation of empowered girls. Let's dive in and raise those confident girls together. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Raising Confident Girls. I'm so happy you're here today. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and your host. And I just want to say thank you for listening today, because whether this is your first episode or you've been here lots of times, I'm so glad you're here, because today's episode is one that really will touch your heart. It's about belief, resilience, and the words that our daughters need to hear. I think all the time, but especially when they feel like giving up. And so I'm joined by someone whose story truly embodies the power of believing in yourself, Cat Kozuch, founder of Believe a Buddy and author of Winston Comes Down to Earth. Cat turned tragedy into triumph after a paralyzing accident that changed everything. Guided by daily affirmations and teddy bears from her father, she defied the odds and walked out of the hospital. Her journey inspired Believe a Buddy, a brand to help kids believe in themselves by learning the power of positive affirmations. Today, we're talking about 3 affirmations you can tell your daughter when she feels like giving up, the simple, powerful words that can help her remember her strength, her worth, and her ability to rise again. Kat, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to Raising Confident Girls.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, it just gives me, did we meet 2 years ago? I think we've known each other for a couple years.
Yeah.
At least a year. I think 2 though. Yeah. So she's one of those people who, we were just drawn to each other because our hearts are to help children. And, when we started meeting, we had so many connections, and I just love everything that you're about. And I get the chills every time you tell your story, because it's such a powerful reminder that you can do anything. And I just love too that you turned a challenge and pain, literally and figuratively, into something amazing. And so would you mind just starting with taking us back to that moment in your life when everything changed, and how affirmations and those teddy bears helped you find hope again?
Yes. Okay. So I'll just go back to the beginning of when my accident happened. I was 19 years old and I was in college. It was my sophomore year. I decided to go on a vacation to Mexico, and it was my first time going to Mexico. It was my first time getting into a dune buggy, which is it's an off-road vehicle. For those of you that haven't heard about a dune buggy before, it goes into the sand and you just kind of ride around like a crazy person. So the plan was to go from this restaurant back to my hotel, and the driver decided to take an off-road turn to go like a little joyride. And from that moment, when he asked me if he could go off-road into the sand, I had this gut intuitive feeling. Like, women, we have these intuitions, and we just know. And I told him yes, because I wasn't confident enough to say, no, I don't want to go on a joyride. I'm not an extreme sports kind of girl. But because my confidence was really low, I said, okay. This man starts driving really, really fast in the dune buggy and ends up losing control. So the dune buggy ends up flipping 5 times down a hill. And during this moment, my seatbelt malfunctions, and my body goes off the seat about 2 inches, slams back down. So my entire vertebrae compresses. My T7, T8 vertebrae explodes into my spinal cord. And from that moment on, I was laying on a broken back for 24 hours before I was airvac'd out of Mexico back to Arizona, where my parents were called, and I had an 8-hour surgery to remove the chipped vertebrae from my spinal cord. And after that 6-hour surgery, I was told by doctors I would never walk again. I was paralyzed. I was in the hospital for 3 months and I was put in a wheelchair. Wheelchair was ordered, customized to my body, and that was my fate from the doctor.
Mhm.
But the second the doctor told me I'd never walk again, it's like this, I went from being not confident enough to tell this driver to not go out in the dunes in the dune buggy to having all the confidence in the world after that surgery that I would walk again. So I put a positive affirmation on my hospital whiteboard, the big whiteboard that sits in front of your hospital bed. And I put, Cat will walk out of here, duh. And and
It's my favorite part.
at the end, because it was a given, duh, it was already going to happen. I already knew it. So I had so much faith and confidence in myself that I was going to overcome being paralyzed. Everyone thought that I was crazy, delusional. They definitely sent in psychiatrists to see if I needed mental help because I was in such denial of being paralyzed. And I would kick everyone out of the room that came to tell me, like, now that you're in a wheelchair, how does that make you feel? I'd be like, and then I would say, like, if you don't believe I'm going to walk again, I need you to get out. And I just had so much faith in myself that I was going to be okay. About 4 weeks later, I'm laying in my hospital bed. My body from my chest down is still paralyzed. I can't move anything. And at this point, I'm so frustrated because I'm like, I told myself, give it 4 weeks, like I'm going to walk again. So I used all that frustration and all that anger and started yelling at my big toe, move, big toe, move, big toe, move. And my big toe moved like 2 millimeters. It was the smallest little wiggle, but my whole brain lit up. I'm like, I know that I moved that toe. Doctor
Yes.
would come into the room and say, oh, it's just a twitch. You have a spinal cord injury. Don't get your hopes up. But I'm like, no, like I just kept saying that affirmation over and over. Cat will walk out of here. Duh. I will walk out of here. I will walk out of here. I kept concentrating on my body and just visualizing and having so much confidence in myself and blocking out the noise that was around me. And slowly my left leg started waking up. And then a couple weeks later, my right foot broke in the accident. So when they took the boot off, I started practicing yelling at my right toes, and they started to wake up. And then it was 3 months when they let me leave the hospital. I walked out of the hospital slower than a turtle with a walker, but I walked, and the entire hospital floor was just, I mean, they were in shock. It's a medical mystery. They can't explain it, but I fully believe in my whole heart and soul that it was the affirmations I was telling myself. It was the power of believing in myself that I was going to get through this. That led me to walk again. And it's total miracle, medical mystery. And I'm just so lucky to be able to share this story.
Oh man, it's such a powerful story. And my favorite part is that you wouldn't let people stay who were being negative about it. And just the fact that you had a huge confidence switch too is amazing.
It's like all of a sudden I knew what my power was. And my superpower was, I am the best. I can do this. I am amazing. I am unstoppable. And I always tell people, because they ask me, was it scary in the hospital? Were you sad? And I look back and I remember there was 1 week that I struggled a lot, but besides that 1 week, I felt like an angel was sitting on my shoulders, just cheering me on. Like there was some fire in me that would not, like nothing could stop me from believing what I was believing, it was the most amazing thing that could have ever happened to me.
I love that. And I love too that you have used that to create a product to help other kids. And to me, that's the magical thing too, is like maybe that whole thing that happened to you, that challenge was for this. Like maybe this was a purpose. I'm sure this is one of your purposes for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the coolest part of this journey, and it took years to connect the dots backwards.
Mhm.
When I was in the hospital, my parents, they were still working. So I was in the hospital alone until they'd come visit after work. But my dad was traveling for work. So every time he came to visit me, he brought me a new teddy bear from whatever airport. It could be Mexico, it could be New York, it could whatever, wherever the bear was from. And my mom would pin all these teddy bears around that positive affirmation. And so I could see all the teddy bears that my dad got me and look at my positive affirmation. Then 16 years later, I was in the shower and this like a lightning bolt strikes my brain. Mix a teddy bear with a positive affirmation so you can instill belief in kids from a young age, because I was 19 when I had full confidence in my affirmations.
Mhm.
But not every child grows up in an environment where a parent understands what an affirmation is or teaches them affirmations, or maybe the parents don't even have that confidence in themselves to be able to teach. So this idea like came to life within 1 year. I had invented Believe a Buddy. I'm gonna show him right now. He's right.
He's so cute. Oh yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it, and
He's
yes, you should check it out.
with
It's
the
he's so adorable. He's so soft too.
He's so soft. He's really big,
He
and
is.
looking back, like, if that was the purpose of me going through such mental and physical, like just the worst thing that could ever happen is I feel like is being paralyzed, because you know what it felt like before when you had
Yeah.
full ability to move your body, and then when it's taken away, I mean, it's so cool that even if I went through the worst thing in my life when I was 19, 18 years later, I'm sitting here teaching kids how to believe in themselves, because I believed in myself so hard that I transformed this terrible tragedy into walking.
Yes. And yeah, she walks. I mean, she's not in a wheelchair. She's not in any, yeah. I mean, it's incredible that you walk.
Yeah. It's and when I always like to say I went from being paralyzed to walking out of the hospital 3 months later in a walker. I finished college on 2 crutches while going to physical therapy. And then,
Amazing.
and today I still have like right side weakness. I always say it's still healing.
Yeah.
So I walk with a pretty bad limp, but I'm just lucky to be standing, because that's all I ever wanted.
Yeah. I mean, and look what that hasn't stopped you. Like it doesn't, even that, like it hasn't stopped you from going for your dreams. And I think too, you're helping kids see by creating Believe a Buddy and Winston, you're really helping them see what's possible too. And you probably never even dreamed of creating something to help kids until this happened. And so that's such a powerful reminder that even if your daughter is going through something really hard and it just seems a little bit hopeless right now. Like I know a girl who is really going through a lot of um, fitting in, challenges with being in a new school and not feeling accepted and really starting to lose hope and even making friends. Like it can totally change in one day, one encounter with another girl or one thing that changes your life. I mean, and so obviously yours was an accident, but it ended up turning into something really beautiful, which I love.
Well, thank you. I mean, I love it too. And it wasn't always like a happy thing for me.
Sure.
I feel like the older I got, the wiser I got, the more I realized that this is such a gift to me. Like I
Mhm.
may walk with a limp. Every time I'm in public, I mean, I would say 5 to 10 people ask me in a public space what happened to me because the way I walk, and I get to share my story of a miracle over and over
Yeah.
because I walk with a limp. And then I get to talk about my company, Believe a Buddy, and share that I teach kids the power of positive affirmations. And it's like, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. That's incredible because I bet they never forget that story, that they ask you about that. And it also floors me that people just ask
Uh,
people like, it's flooring to me. I have a friend who is a wheelchair user and same thing. She has people come up to her several times a day when she's at a coffee shop or whatever. And they're like, what happened to you? And I was like, really? And she's like, same thing. Like, yeah, but I just turned it into a positive, story. And if kids ask me, the parents are always mortified, but I welcome it because it allows me to tell them that I'm an interior designer and I
yeah,
like do all kinds of things. And like, you don't have to let this hold you back. So yeah.
gosh,
I
it's
love that you have that same thing.
yes. And come to the conclusion that humans are just very curious. They're very
Yeah.
curious. And I've been with my friends and family before where they have heard people ask me what happened a million times, and they start rolling their eyes and saying, I can't believe you put up with this every day of your life. But I used to literally cry. When I got home, I would be so tired from sharing like the story about the worst day of my life. And I
Yeah.
would feel so sad. But the moment I changed my mindset on it and said, oh my gosh, like, no, Kat, you were put here as an assignment from God to tell people the story of a miracle. So if maybe they're having a bad day, or maybe they have some sort of physical or mental health issue, maybe my story will help inspire them that life is not that bad, that turn it around into something positive. Because I feel like if I didn't move my mindset to that, it would have been a very hard rest of my life for me, because I am constantly reminded of the worst day of my life. But now I kind of look at it as, well, maybe it was the best day of my life. Maybe learning at such a young age how to believe in myself so much just changed the whole trajectory of my entire life. And I'm just
Hmm.
a happier, better person for it.
Oh my gosh. That alone is like an affirmation mindset. Like it's such an important thing. And I think, people can overthink it with their girls in their life. And so, you mentioned on your hardest days. What did on your hardest days it look like when before you had proof that this was possible? Like, I know you said in the hospital, but like after you came home, because I know you said you walked as slow as a turtle at first, and now obviously you can walk normally with, with a limp, but that takes a lot of work too, physically, I'm sure. So on those hardest days, did you just continue that same affirmation, or were there other ones that really helped you get through those tough times?
I would say I would listen to music with affirmations in it.
Mm.
You know the song I'm Unstoppable.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Love it.
I put that into Winston's one of his affirmations, because
Yes.
on the hard days, I would just think to myself, like I would say my affirmation, or just think my affirmation, and I would look at it as like this is, I don't even know how to articulate this very well, but I would treat it as like a competition with myself and
Mm.
life. Like, I'm not going to let life take me down right now. I'm going to change my mindset, and I'm going to win against life, because they're trying to take me down, or whatever it is in the universe is trying to take
Yeah.
me down by making me feel sad about this or angry about this. But no, I am going to focus on, I am unstoppable. I am powerful. I am strong. I am brave. I am courageous. And those are the thoughts that I want to have, instead of having those negative downward spiraling thoughts. Because the second you start to have one negative thought, it's a chain reaction, and it just leads to more. And if the biggest lesson that I've learned is, if you could just snap that thought, or maybe even snap your fingers when you're having a negative thought, and just snap out of it and talk to yourself and say, no, I'm unstoppable. I'm confident. I'm one of a kind. I can do this. Then it is possible to just change just even the energy around you. Like, it feels so good
Yes.
when you say, I am strong. I'm confident, instead of saying, oh, I suck. Like, you can just feel it in your
Hmm.
body language. The difference between speaking positively to yourself or speaking negatively to yourself.
Yes. And I think it's so important for adults to model that for kids as well, because, sometimes they can feel like, oh, but it's not true. And it's like, well, you make it true. And I mean, I know I talk to myself all the time. And one of the first things that I do when I wake up and my feet hit the floor is I tell myself something positive. Sometimes it's keep going. Sometimes it's going to be a great day. Sometimes it's whatever thought comes to my mind. But I try and not try, I do tell myself every morning, like, okay, we're going to do this. Like, let's go, let's do it. And so, yeah, I think it's making it a habit too, which sounds like that. I love the idea that you said of snapping your fingers, like just like snap out of it. Like, because in Girls Positivity Club, we call it the tornado of feelings, like how it can become like a tornado. And then it's like you're stuck in the tornado. And, yeah, and how you can get yourself out of it. And it doesn't mean that you never have a doubt the rest of your life, but it means you know how to get yourself out of it
Yeah.
faster.
And I love the thought of the tornado.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It
Uh,
does. Yeah.
and I would say, especially as young girls, um, when they're not feeling confident, sometimes social media, the like comparison is such a thief of joy, and
Mhm.
kids have access to so much more than we did when we were little. So
Yeah.
it's scary because it takes away confidence when maybe you see another little girl that has cooler shoes or a better hairstyle or better cooler friends or whatever it is. So I think that it starts at home with the parents too, like planting seeds of confidence within the child. I'm so blessed that I had such amazing parents, and I remember my dad telling me, "You are beautiful. I'm so proud of you." Both my parents, they were always very proud of me, and I remember
Same.
that sentence. But not every parent does that, remembers that, and maybe it's because of the way that they were raised. But
Exactly. Or they
it,
know how. Like
yeah,
some of them don't know how to do it. Like, how do I start doing it?
yep,
Mhm.
it's so true. And even if your little girl comes home and maybe they didn't do that great on their test, or they maybe came third or fourth place in a little running race, always plant the seed of, I'm proud of you for trying, because
Yes.
that even helps. Like, I'm proud of you for trying. So they will try again instead of saying,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, you suck. I can't believe you didn't win, or I can't believe that you got a bad grade. It's, I'm proud of you for trying. So they will be confident enough to try again. Because if you beat them
Mhm.
down when they've tried their best and they didn't do that great, that you're planting like seeds of doubt into them. So we need to plant as many seeds of confidence in them as we can.
Yes, I totally agree. I talk about effort, praising effort all the time because I think it is just as important to, if not more important, to praise them on their progress and their effort than it is the A or the first place or the scoring, the winning score or, whatever it is. Because especially when you are a child who maybe wasn't the best athlete. That was me. Like my family jokes. They're like, I can't believe you played sports. I ended up finding dance as my thing, but I tried everything and I wasn't great at everything, but my parents, same thing, like told me positive things. And even though my mom, she would have bought me Believe a Buddy 1,000% because I loved stuffed animals. I used to teach my stuffed animals that were on my bed. Anyway, I didn't know I wanted to be a teacher until later in life, like my
Consciousness.
senior year. Yeah, yeah. My mom was like, honey, I always knew that. You used to teach your stuffed animals. So tell us, what are 3 affirmations that you think would help a girl who maybe feels like giving up? You can start with just your
My,
first one. Yeah.
I always think about what I needed as a kid, and these are the three that I picked because I feel like they're so powerful. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm strong,
Yes.
I am powerful,
Yes.
unstoppable. And
Yes.
so these three affirmations, I feel like when I say them, I feel like I'm the most powerful person possible. So when a little girl is saying these over and over, it's like we need to be consistent with affirmations. It's not a one time only thing. We need to
Right.
rewire those signals in our brain to help us remember to put it in our subconscious. So if something bad or not great happens at school or in your friendship group, you're going to remember, like, I am strong, I am powerful, I am unstoppable. And that's what's going to help you get to the next level mentally. Because everything in life is a mental game. Even for
Yes.
little kids, like, they just have to be mentally strong and they have to have strong hearts to get through whatever obstacles they're facing. Because there's things that when they're at school, we can't see what's happening. We can't guide them. Like, they have to find their own inner guide. And I think with affirmations, they're building their inner guide, because if you can be so confident to say, I'm so powerful, I'm unstoppable, you're not going to let any other little kid boss you around, or you're not going to let something get to you if you didn't have your affirmations. Because if you're not doing your affirmations, the chances of something bringing you down is so much higher.
Yeah. And you start believing the other voices.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think so many kids do. It's like, especially if they're told like, "Oh, you're weird," or "You're to this or to that," or "You're short. Your legs are short." Then all of a sudden you're like, "They are? Like they're just my legs. Like I never even thought about my legs being short until some kid says that, and then another one's like, oh God, yeah, they are. And then they start making this big thing. And you're like, but I love the idea of, in that moment, I could visualize a girl saying, I am strong, I am powerful, I am unstoppable,
Yep.
and walking away, or just saying like, okay, you can have that opinion. I like my legs, and walk away, like just something like that. I think sometimes parents think that they have to tell someone off if they're mean to them, but you can really just stand in your power, like you said, and use your affirmations to help you in that moment.
Yeah, because sometimes when another little kid is trying to get your kid down, it has nothing to do with you not having something. It's something that's lacking within the other child. So
Yes.
if another child tells you, oh, you have like short legs, or you can say, no, I have the best legs. Imagine how that kid is going to think, or what he's going to
Mhm.
think, or he or she's going to think if they had that response.
Yeah.
They want the other child to respond with sadness and or
Mhm.
anger, or they just want that response. But if you respond with confidence, there's nothing else that they could say.
Yeah. It takes the wind out of their sails. It's like they're like, oh,
their,
okay.
their mission was
Even
to screw you, and instead
yeah.
like, yeah, my legs are short and so cute.
And so powerful, I will run all around.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
I
My
think
legs are my superpower.
I love that. Because yeah, you can use one of the parts of the affirmation and just turn it right back around. And I think too, like so many girls are afraid to do that because of what people might think. And so if you're thinking about using affirmations because I'm thinking about the parent listening, and let's say, for example, that they tell their daughter positive affirmations, but the girl is having a hard time believing it or getting in the habit of saying it, like she's kind of stuck in negative thinking. What are some habits that you think would be good for parents and caregivers to teach their girls to work it into their everyday life? What would you say?
I, I, I feel like this is the biggest benefit of Winston the Believe It Buddy.
Yes.
So it's to form a routine. You have the bear in the morning before school at the kitchen counter. Every day, have your child pick a positive affirmation and stick it in the belly of the bear so they can see it. And if you're on YouTube, they can look at it, they can see it, because it's all about consistency. If
Mhm.
the more you do it and you get into the habit, and kids are always looking up to their parents. So if their parents are saying their affirmations, or make it like a family unit activity where everyone in the morning, that is their routine. It takes like 2 minutes out of your day to just
Mhm.
say your affirmations and then walk out the door. And then maybe make it a bedtime routine where if your mornings are so crazy, I know some parents have to wake up super early and drop multiple kids off at different schools. If the morning is too chaotic, maybe nighttime. So
Mhm.
nighttime, pull the card, say your affirmations, and go to sleep. And I feel like that would even help with the calmness of the evening. And those affirmations would go into the subconscious mind, and maybe they'll wake up and just feel like still feel that strength. But like I said before, it's not a one time thing. It is a constant, repetitive planting of the seeds in the mind and rewiring the brain to think positively.
For sure. And I think the what you mentioned earlier about planting the seeds, I think too, doing it either in the morning or in the evening, whichever works best for families, or both would be great.
Yeah.
Even like if you do it in the morning, it's almost like you're setting an intention for the day. And then what would be really cool would be at bedtime or at the dinner table or in the car, because some people have to eat on the run. I mean, we know how that goes with activities and things. You can ask your daughter, how were you strong today? How were you powerful today? And then maybe you could do the same. Like I was strong when I raised my hand in a meeting. I was strong when I said, this one thing, or I didn't eat my dessert before. I don't know. It could be anything. I didn't get whatever it is. But like, it's a cool way to also connect you as a family. So if you're thinking like, and I love the idea, like you said, of everybody picking an affirmation, maybe from Winston, and maybe the one that's displayed in Winston's belly is hers, but then maybe you have yours too. Or maybe you all share the same one. Like, okay, you're going to pick our affirmation for today. Everybody's going to do that. And we're all going to report back later, even if it's just a quick thing at bedtime.
Yeah. And I think the bedtime one would be cool at the end of the day because, for example, there's an affirmation that says, I am an amazing friend. So if they pull that card, how are you an amazing friend today? I love that idea.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
it's so cute. I love
It's
it.
such a great like conversation starter. So I think these are even like really easy ways to connect with your kids. And it's, boys and girls can use this. And I also love that you have a story. So would you kind of tell us where the inspiration from the story came from with Winston and how maybe that ties in with,
The book,
with what they do? Yeah.
the books, you're talking about the storybook,
Yeah,
right?
the book. Yes, the storybook. Sorry, I said story. I meant to say book. Yes, the book. The book. Yes.
So we've got Winston Comes Down to Earth. It is the cutest story. So I turned my accident for when I was in the hospital, my experience, into a children's version of what it was like. But to give you like the overview of the book, so believe a buddy, he comes from a galaxy, and every time he feels a kid, like there's a kid in need that needs his help, he gets a chill up his spur. And then he comes down to Earth and goes wherever a child is feeling sad or hopeless, or maybe they just got bullied. And he teaches kids what a positive affirmation is. And then in this story, it just relates to when I was in the hospital and I was having a bad day in the hospital. And I said my positive affirmation, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong. And I got all the confidence in the world. And a few days later, I walked out of the hospital. So the book is so cute and it's so special. And it just goes along with my story and the bear. And it's just a very cute read for all.
Yes. Well, what a great way to partner that with Winston, like just to have that as a bedtime story. And I know like kids love repetition too. And so it can be a favorite bedtime story too, as they're, going to bed and settling in and just knowing that, that we can use it just like Winston, and having Winston with them is just an extra bonus.
Yeah, and it's nice and interactive because when the affirmations come up in the book, you can ask your child, say the affirmations as I'm saying it when I'm reading it to you, because it will instill it in their mind and their bodies, and it's just very helpful.
For sure. And I think too, like sometimes we can overthink things. And so we talked a lot about, younger girls and like, just how they can use it in different situations. But what would you say about teens? I mean, you were a teen when you used this.
Yeah.
Would there be a difference? Like, could teens still use Winston and affirmations in the same way? Or do you see it as like a little bit of a different lens, as a way that, like, sometimes teens can, I have a teenager, so I can say this firsthand.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say things are cringy or cheesy or roll their eyes or whatever, and they really need it, but they're a little bit embarrassed, or they don't, even though they know it's a good thing, they're like not sure how to try it out on their own. So what would you say? Let's say that there's a girl who, like, I just had a girl tell me last week that she was feeling really hopeless at school with meeting new friends. And, what would you say to someone like that who feels almost like giving up? And how could parents, support their older girls even in using affirmations, whether they use Winston or not?
Yeah. I always think about looking back at my life when I was younger. What did I need? What did I not have? Because it's fun as an adult looking back, thinking, wow, like I could have really used this at the time. So
Yeah.
for me, the first thing was journaling and dumping out my bad thoughts. If I could just
Yes.
have my little diary. I had a diary. I had like journal diaries all over the
Oh,
place.
same. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was from our very like small childhood. I remember having like a cute little princess one with a lock on it. So I
Me
could
too.
on it.
Mine was Hello Kitty.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I think like just dumping those thoughts out. And I hope parents are able to create a safe environment so their child can go to them and say, "Hey, this is what's going on. Like, what would you do?" And I would, I would hope to think, and I know that doesn't happen in every household, but there's some sort of like a positive twist. And and if there is something sad or negative happening, transform it into, what is this trying to teach you? What kind of a lesson? If it's just a, I'm having a bad day and I'm really sad, or I don't feel good about myself, I think that's like after the journaling, that's when you start writing kind things about yourself. I am beautiful. I am confident. I can do this. Tomorrow is a new day. I can start fresh, and just retraining the mind, because it's like working out. You have to work out your brain to remember
Mhm.
more positive things than negative things. I think this I think what the study is, I think it's for every one negative comment, you have to say 20 positive things. So imagine like how much of a workout that is to remind yourself how great you are. But I think it also is the parent's job to help influence doing something like that, and not just letting your kid go to their room and cry, or just like cut them out. Like, if more parents can talk to their kids, I feel like kids, like, they need us. They need adults
Mhm.
outfit they outlet. They need someone that has more experience and that can see from a bigger perspective of what's happening. It's such a small piece of their life that they're going through this hard, weird high school time, that if they can learn right then and there to believe in themselves by writing their affirmations and saying them every day, their whole life is going to change. And
Mhm.
that's why I Believe a Buddy. I want kids as little as 3 to start using it, because that is the foundation of what creates them as an adult. Like, whatever foundation we can give to them when they're little, they're going to be even better at saying the affirmations when they're older. Or think about the confidence you need to get a good job, to meet great friends. You have to have that foundation of self confidence um, to to get, I would say, to really great places in life.
I agree. And I think too, like it is just a habit. And even if they do roll their eyes, or even if they do say it's cheesy or cringy or whatever, it's still do it, because it's so powerful. And like you said, it's like you get what you look for.
Yeah,
And also it's like, if you look for all the negative things, you're gonna see negative things.
yeah,
And have you ever, like, I know for me, I've been through the same experience as someone else,
yeah,
and I had a completely different outlook on it than that person.
yeah,
Like, they pointed out all the negative things, and I've done this with a family member before, and I was like, really? Like, I thought it was great. Like, I liked this and this and this and this. But it's because, when, like you said, when you make it a habit and you train yourself to think that way, then it becomes part of you. And then you start doing it automatically. And it doesn't mean that you never have a negative thought or anything like that, but you're able to adjust and figure out what to say to yourself. And we say that in Girls Positivity Club, like, be your own cheerleader and
yeah,
also cheer others on too.
yeah.
So you have to be your own cheerleader and encourager, because if you depend on other people to always do it, it's it's not going to be something within you.
It's so true. I would always say, when I was in the hospital, I had to become my own best friend, my own advocate,
Yes.
my own, because everyone around me had a different opinion. But I knew in my heart that I was going to walk again, and I had full confidence in myself. And I always look back at that and say, how cool that I could build my confidence and self belief so much to the point where a doctor who went to school for 10 plus years was telling me
Yes.
something, and I'm like, nope, I don't believe you. I don't want to hear it. I know my body better than you know my body. So, yeah, if we can get all the kids just really embedded in affirmations and self belief, oh, imagine how beautiful the entire world will be forever.
Yes.
Because I think, if someone's being negative, or if they view, like you were saying, you look at a situation in a different perspective, it's all of our perception is based on experience. And if your
Yes.
experience when you're a kid or in high school is um, maybe your parents talk down to you and they treat you like you're the worst kid in the world, like that is your experience, and you're going to look at adults and be like, I don't like anybody. I'm going to be independent and do what I want because everybody
Mm-hmm.
are mean to me. So
Right.
it's just so important to help build that confidence, and maybe just explaining what confidence is, and this is what happens to someone that's confident, and this is what happens to someone that's not confident. Like, look how far you can get with confidence. And yeah, and these are some of the things that I wish I knew when I was even younger. Like, I feel like I got the gist of it and it got me through my accident, but if I knew even more at a younger age, what else amazing could I have done in my little life?
Yes, I can't tell you how many parents say that to me with Girls Positivity Club too, is like,
Yeah.
if I would have had this growing up, like it would have made such a difference. And I think too, like with my mom, she didn't really know what to do, like for me to help with my own internal chaos. And she told me all the things, but I never did it for myself. And so, or I didn't know how to do it for myself. So that's why I think Winston and, what you're doing for kids is so important, is because sometimes you need something tangible,
Yes.
and then it doesn't seem like it's something you're having to invent, or sometimes you don't know what to say. Or sometimes you pick an affirmation that you're like, oh, I would have never said this. Is there one that you put in that, like, how many are there?
There's 52, so one for
Okay.
every week of the year, but I say use it
Okay.
one and one for every week of the year, just in case someone
Yeah.
one day a week that they're doing their affirmation. That's
Yeah.
like, as long as someone's doing it one day, I'm happy. Um,
Yeah.
but what's one that's unique?
Yeah. What would you say would be one that maybe, I don't know, maybe a girl wouldn't really think to pick?
Okay, so there's this one. It's a little longer. It's I calm my emotions with my breath.
Mm.
So that's probably one that's very unique that a lot of maybe parents and kids wouldn't think of. But think of when you're feeling so sad, or your daughter's feeling really sad, you just need to take a breath and just teach them the power of breath, and then show them, like, okay, how do you feel now? Don't you feel so much better? You took a couple breaths, you feel a little bit refreshed, and it calms you down. So that affirmation I always thought was pretty unique, and probably something that you wouldn't say out of the blue.
Yeah, unless you're a person who does a lot of breath work, you probably aren't going to necessarily think of that all the time. And yeah, and I think too, it's teaching girls that when they have big emotions, to just take a beat and take a breath. And I think we all forget to do that as well. It's like, you
Yes.
know, sometimes just taking, like I did that with you. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing wrong, but it just feels good. And sometimes we're going so fast, we forget to breathe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is so true. We're going a million miles
Hmm.
an hour all the time. And another thing is, I think kids just learn by example. Whatever the parents are doing in the household, like, imagine if, like, your mom was just constantly saying, I'm beautiful today. Look at my outfit, or I feel good, or if you, instead of hearing, because I've heard this before, where a parent is like, "Oh, I'm feeling fat. I need to lose weight," and like all of a sudden their daughter has an eating disorder because all they heard growing up was mom like talking so negatively about themselves instead of positively. So if you just remember, the little ones are always listening and they're always watching, and they want the you are all they have as far as it comes to safety, and they look up to you. So if you can, even if you feel silly doing it, like, there's no such thing as being silly when you're changing your kid's life to think about their future in such a positive way, to instill those positive affirmations into them. So
For sure.
by example.
I think doing it together is so powerful, like you said, and even doing it in front of the mirror. I know some people are uncomfortable with like looking at themselves in the mirror and like saying something, but even taking it a step further. And it's also never too late, and it's
Yes.
never too early. I
Yeah.
think you can start this anytime. Like right now, if you're listening, you're like, I've never done this with my daughter. You can do it tomorrow, tonight. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't even have to wait till tomorrow. Like you can literally do it after when they come home from school, when they come out of the room, whatever it is. yeah, just start it right then and just say, what would you say if they're just going to start it out of the blue? They just would say, hey, let's try something. What would you say would be a starter that
I
they could say?
I think what I would do is like, hi, honey, I want to try something new with you. I want to talk about positive affirmations. Let's see how good it makes us feel, and turn it into like an exciting little
Yeah.
like routine, and see how they respond to it. And I feel like if you're excited about something and if your
Yes.
energy is high, they're going to start, to get excited about it. And um, also a nice thing about Winston is he's kind of a crutch, because there are people
Mhm.
that don't have a Winston and do affirmations in the mirror. But if you don't know how to even start doing that, if you get Winston, oh, look, honey, I got you a bear and we're going to do affirmations. Let's do them in the mirror with Winston. It's like an easy,
Yes.
tangible way to start the process if you just feel uncomfortable or embarrassed or just don't really know how. Like, we have a new toy in the house and he is full of positive affirmations. Let's get this started. And that is
Yes.
actually some of the feedback that I've got from parents, is like it has been like a good like crutch to start the conversation. And
Hmm.
um my neighbor, for example, her son came over, he's 5 years old. And I gave him a Believe It Buddy bear and he pulled a card, and she had texted me that night that he keeps running around the house saying, I am kind, I am kind, I am kind. And it turns into,
Oh,
I mean, the responses that I get on it are just so cute. And you might not know it in the moment that you're playing with Winston and pulling the affirmations, but randomly, like hours later, maybe days later, someone will say, like, or your child will say, I am confident, or like something cool. And you're like, wait, that's from Winston. I get
yes.
stories like that all the time. Like, one of my girlfriends, her daughter hurt her foot at the pool and it was bleeding. And she had messaged me after and said, my daughter hurt her foot, but she ran and got Believe It Buddy and picked the I am healthy affirmation and stuck it in the belly of the bears.
Oh,
Like, they remember. And I had another friend,
yes.
daughter was in gymnastics, and she had this big competition, and she pulled a card before she left because she was so afraid, and it was I think it was like, I am strong. And then she was fully confident for her competition. So it's just cute. I just love hearing all the magical stories that comes from it. Um,
Yes.
and that parents like can see that it's working. It just takes, repetition.
Yes. And I love that they used it as a tool in a situation. So, like, it could also be used as, what do I need to hear right now?
Yeah.
And using it for that. And I think same thing, like having a stuffed animal, like even older girls still like, they call them stuffies, they still love stuffies and they still love to have their stuffed animals. Um, I, I slept with a stuffed animal through high school, probably college, but I mean, they're
Yeah.
not too babyish for older girls too. So, what is the oldest age of girl that's used Believe a Buddy?
I mean, I
Do you
have
know?
adults asking me like an adult
Yeah,
question.
I
So
want, yeah,
yeah, I still have my Believe It Buddy that sits on my makeup counter. So every
yes.
day, like, I keep the I believe in myself one in, because that's my favorite affirmation. And
Yes.
I'm a magnet for miracles. Like, those are my two favorite affirmations. But
Oh, I love that.
I feel like there was a team of, I think they're 14-year-old girls, the gymnastics team. And I had an order come in for every single girl in the gymnastics team got one, and I think there were 14. And then they sent me a video of them saying their affirmation and like doing a backflip or like playing with the bear, and it was so cute. So
Doesn't matter the age, really.
I don't think it matters the age. Affirmations are timeless.
Yes.
And maybe,
And
having a little teddy bear, if someone's maybe embarrassed to have a little teddy bear at age like 25, but um, I'm thinking of someone that is in medical school right now. They have a Believe a Buddy sitting in their room.
oh,
So yeah, it helps them. Hmm.
it helps at any age. And yeah, and teddy bears, think of how timeless teddy bears are.
They're
I
tiny
mean,
and they're cozy.
yeah, they are. They're cozy, they're comforting, and I think they would even be powerful for the elderly
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
because they need something. And a lot of times, especially ones that are in homes or senior living, like they kind of regress a little bit. And I know my grandma did, and she loved dolls, and she would always fix their dresses, and she would like, have little bears and things, and she loved that. So even if you're listening and you're like, oh, my mom would actually love that. Like, how cool would it be for the holidays to get, just get one for the whole family, because then that would be a really cool connection. And you could talk about that at family functions, or you could FaceTime grandma, especially if you live farther away and if there are grandparents listening. This is a great gift idea, is like you could both have one, or you could get it for her and have her FaceTime you and say the affirmation before you go to bed, or have a call, or whatever it is. I think that could be really powerful as well.
That's a great idea. I mean, Believability is just so interactive for everybody. And
Yeah,
everyone that sees him, they just melt because he's so big. And if you see even like a 5-year-old holding Believability, and I mean,
he's big.
I have an adult head, but he's not small. He's very big.
No, the
So
girls were surprised by how big he was, because we last year did a holiday fundraiser for Girls Positivity Club to help girls in need get scholarships. And the top prize, the top fundraiser, got a Believe-A-Buddy. And and it was like most of her body, because she's small anyway. However, the girls all passed it around, and they were like, it's really big. Like, we thought it would be smaller. And I'm like, nope, it's big.
it's a big
Yeah.
animal. And another perfect gift idea is Believe-A-Buddy is in some elementary school counselors' offices.
Oh, yeah.
It can help. I have a few counselors that in order to get the child more comfortable before their counseling session, they pick a card, they hug the bear, and that makes them feel more cozier and comfortable before maybe diving into like a little bit more deeper or serious, emotional subject that they want to talk about. And then I have Believe-A-Buddy in some classrooms. So
I was just going to say that. Yeah. My teacher wheels were turning. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
The most eye-opening moment was I went to a school and I taught the kids how to use Believe-A-Buddy. All the kids sat in a circle. Everyone got to pick an affirmation card, hug Believe-A-Buddy, and pass it to the next student next to them.
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget, this little boy pulled a card and it said, I am loved. He sat there and looked at it. It just makes me so sad. He looked at it and he started this awkward giggle. He could not say, I am loved. And it made me feel like, wow, you have no idea what's going on in his household, why he can't say that. So all of the kids in the classroom started cheering, I am loved, say I am loved. And they were all cheering him on. And he almost got so nervous he wanted to cry, but he ended up saying it, but it was almost like a whisper. So in the classroom, you can kind of tell, like, okay, what kind of a home are they coming from? And this could be something in the classroom where you can bring affirmations and help boost their confidence if it's not happening in their environment where they are after school. So I think teachers are so important and such a huge part of a child's life and can truly shape their heart and mind. And Believe-A-Buddy can definitely help. And it's a fun activity.
It is. And I think even if you have a confident child, like, they still can benefit from it. Like, I don't think there's ever an expiration date on confidence and building your confidence and growth. And so, and I was even thinking, like, this would be a great teacher gift, because people are always like, what do you buy your teacher? What do you get them? Because, we appreciate all the things, like, when I was a teacher, but you do have a lot of mugs and you do get a lot of kind of similar things, but this would be something super unique, and it would be a tool for even the teacher to use for herself or himself. And then I was also thinking about, it would be a good tool for the calming corner. So a lot of classrooms have calming corners. And then it could sit there and the kids could use that for if they were having a big emotion moment in the classroom. Or just if they need a little pick me up, maybe someone gets down about an assignment or something, it would be a great tool to use in that way. So if you're listening and you're like, what should I get my child's teacher this year? I think this would be a very unique thing, and also a unique gift, and also like a tool that they could really use. It would even help all the kids in the classroom. So I think that'd be amazing.
Yep.
And I love that story too. It's amazing.
I have
Yeah.
just the cutest stories, like watching kids and like when I'll ask like who wants to say the first affirmation, I mean hands go up like crazy, like they
Yes.
can't wait to say affirmations, and it's so cute and it's adorable.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing your heart and your story with us today. You are so special, and I'm so lucky to know you and so happy we met.
Oh, I'm
And
so lucky to know you. And I love what you're
oh,
doing. You're doing
oh, thank you.
amazing things with all these little kids, building their confidence, and it's going to change the next generation. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. We're working together to do that, right? So that's why we hit it off right away. Loved talking to each other and everything.
Yeah.
So, Believe Buddy just gives kids that language, like you said, that they can carry with them throughout their life, which is so powerful. Before we wrap up, where can parents find Believe a Buddy and your book, Winston Comes Down to Earth?
You can go to believeabuddy.com, and you can also on Instagram shop at believeabuddy.
Awesome. And I know you'd mentioned maybe a little gift for our listeners.
Yes, we'll do a special code. The code is, it will be Confident Girls. Confident Girls, and you'll get a nice discount on Believe It Buddy.
And that's so generous of you to do because it's such a powerful tool. And I really hope that you listening take advantage of that because especially with the holidays coming up, I mean, they happen faster and faster. It seems like they come each year. And even if it's for a birthday gift or just because, like if you're listening, it doesn't have to be for a special occasion. Like you can buy this today and you can get Believe a Buddy and Winston and see the power that it brings to your daughter's life or the girls in your life. Lives. So, because when she hears, yeah, of course, yeah.
It's a gift that keeps on giving. I mean, you're giving
That's right.
confidence. That is a gift that the child will carry for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. And so it's priceless.
Yeah.
For sure. So if you take one thing from today's conversation, let it be this. When your daughter wants to give up, she doesn't need perfection. She doesn't need pressure. She just needs your presence and your belief and to believe it herself. And because when she hears, I believe in you from you, and she also says that to herself, these words become the voice that she carries inside long after those hard moments pass. So any last words, Kat, before we go that you would say to any parents who want to raise confident girls in this next generation?
Just, I would say, be the parent you needed when you were younger. Whatever, when you look back at your childhood, what do you wish that you had more of? And was it more love? Was it more words of positive affirmation? Was it, what was something that you needed more than anything? And I think instilling those missing pieces into your child is so important because we want them to be so loved, so confident, and you need to be a safe place for them to come to. Always be proud of them. Always, even if they did something wrong, I'm proud of you for trying. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I hope every parent gets. It's how you raise them is, shaping them for the rest of their lives.
It's so good. And so, yeah, thank you so much. That's so powerful. I'm like speechless. I think that's such a powerful thing to remember. And also that you don't have to be perfect at it. Like, everybody messes up and you can still pick up and try the next day and, keep teaching them, like you said, like to truly believe in themselves. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for being here today. And thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Sorry. And thank you so much for listening to Raising Confident Girls. If this episode encouraged you, please share it with another parent who could use the reminder today and come join our community at Girls Positivity Club, where confident girls become leaders of positivity around the world. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining another empowering episode of the Raising Confident Girls podcast. Share today's insights with caregivers and friends, building beautiful relationships with strong girls. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. Follow Girls Positivity Club on social media for more empowering content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This podcast empowers you, supporting incredible girls. Let's create strong, beautiful relationships with the girls in our lives. I appreciate you listening today. Stay confident, stay connected. Until next time, keep raising those confident girls. You've got this.